Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today we're going to talk about a coin that has intrigued collectors for decades and continues to be one of the most sought after pieces in American numismatics, the 1966 Lincoln penny. When you think of the Lincoln penny, you probably picture the classic design with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the simple 1-cent inscription on the back. However, while most of these pennies are relatively easy to find and worth only their face value, there's a rare variety from 1966 that has caused quite a stir in the numismatic world. If you've ever wondered if a penny could be worth more than just a few cents, the 1966 Lincoln penny might just change your perspective on coin collecting. To understand why this penny is so special, let's first take a look at the context behind the year 1966. It was an important year in U.S. history. The country was in the midst of significant social and political changes, with the civil rights movement gaining momentum and the Vietnam War having a growing impact on American society. But what makes the 1966 Lincoln penny stand out isn't just its historical backdrop, it's the fascinating mystery surrounding certain varieties of the coin that make it incredibly rare and highly valuable. And now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1966 Lincoln penny so special? Well, unlike most years when every coin in circulation is minted in the same way, there was a fascinating anomaly with the 1966 pennies. In 1965 and 1966, the United States Mint was undergoing a major shift in the types of metal used for coins. The transition from a predominantly copper-based alloy to a more affordable copper-plated steel coinage resulted in subtle variations in the minting process. While most pennies produced in 1966 were made using the regular copper-based alloy, there were a small number of pennies struck with the wrong metal, a mistake that would go on to become one of the rarest and most valuable coin varieties in U.S. history. This rare error is often referred to as the 1966 Lincoln penny with a copper-plated steel composition. The vast majority of pennies from this year were minted with the standard copper mixture, so when one of these rare pennies in steel alloy surfaces, it's an incredible find. These specific coins are not only rare but are in high demand among collectors who are willing to pay handsomely for such a find, but finding one of these rare pennies is easier said than done. Because only a small number of 1966 pennies were mistakenly struck using the wrong metal, the chances of stumbling upon one are extremely low. In fact, many of these steel pennies were either never released into circulation or were melted down shortly after their discovery, making them even harder to find today. This scarcity has played a huge role in driving up the value of any 1966 Lincoln penny that might still be floating around out there. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin even more interesting: the condition it's in. Like all collectibles, the state of preservation plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. While a standard 1966 Lincoln penny may not be worth much more than its face value, a rare steel variety that is in mint or near mint condition could fetch an extraordinary amount of money. Coins that are well preserved, with minimal wear and tear, are always in higher demand among collectors, as they are considered more desirable for display or investment purposes. Many collectors have spent years tracking down these elusive coins, hoping to add them to their collections. The 1966 Lincoln penny is considered a holy grail for many, and having one in top condition could instantly elevate the worth of any collection. If you happen to come across a 1966 penny in good condition, it's crucial to take a closer look to see if it's one of these rare steel alloy varieties. A simple test to check the metal composition can help determine if your penny is one of these valuable mistakes. Another reason why the 1966 Lincoln penny is so coveted is the fact that there are also some fascinating variants, such as certain die errors and unique minting flaws. These imperfections often occur when there are issues with the dies used to strike the coins, resulting in misprints or distorted designs. While these types of errors can happen during the production of any coin, a rare die error on a 1966 Lincoln penny adds another layer of intrigue and value. Now, let's get to the really exciting part: the value. As I mentioned earlier, a typical 1966 Lincoln penny is worth, well, a penny. But if you're lucky enough to have one of the rare 1966 Lincoln pennies made from the wrong alloy or an error coin in pristine condition, then your coin could be worth a small fortune. The price for these rare pennies can vary depending on factors like their condition, the severity of the error, and whether the coin has been professionally certified by a reputable grading service. However, in some cases, these coins can be valued in the thousands of dollars, but here's the jaw-dropping part. If you happen to own one of the highest-grade examples of the 1966 Lincoln penny with the copper-plated steel composition or a significant minting error, you could potentially sell it for a staggering $75,000. That's right, $75,000 for a single penny. It's hard to imagine that such a small coin could hold that much value, but in the world of rare coins, anything is possible. So, if you're sitting on an old coin collection or happen to come across a 1966 penny in your pocket change, take a moment to examine it closely. What may seem like a simple, everyday coin could be worth far more than you ever expected. Always keep an eye out for the rare varieties, and make sure you're checking for those tiny but important details that can turn a regular penny into a collector's dream. That's all for today's deep dive into the 1966 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more incredible coin discoveries. Top 2. We have something truly exciting to discuss. We're about to explore one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in the history of U.S. currency, the rare 1970 Lincoln penny. This seemingly ordinary penny has a rich story and a potential value that could leave you speechless. If you've got a 1970 Lincoln penny tucked away in your collection, you might want to pay close attention because this coin is more than just a piece of change, it's a key to a world of numismatic excitement. At first glance, the 1970 Lincoln penny might appear no different from the countless others minted in that era. After all, the design hasn't changed much since it was first introduced back in 1909. You've got Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait on the obverse side and the simple inscription of 1 cent on the reverse. But what many don't realize is that hidden within this batch of pennies is a rare variety that has been causing a stir among collectors for decades. The year 1970 marked a pivotal moment in the history of U.S. coinage. It was a time of great economic change, with the country still adjusting to the aftermath of the 1960s and heading toward the financial uncertainties of the 1970s. But what makes the 1970 Lincoln penny so interesting isn't just the context of the year, it's the unique minting errors that occurred during its production. It turns out that 1970 was a year when a small number of pennies were struck with a very specific and rare error, making them highly valuable and sought after. So, what exactly makes the 1970 Lincoln penny so special? The story begins with a particular variant known as the 1970s proof penny. You see, the U.S. Mint produced two main types of pennies in 1970, regular circulation pennies and proof pennies. Regular pennies were minted in Philadelphia, while proof pennies were struck at the San Francisco Mint with a special process designed to create high-quality coins for collectors. The 1970s proof pennies, which were supposed to be part of limited mintage sets, became especially rare for a very interesting reason. During production, a number of these proof pennies were mistakenly struck with a regular die, resulting in an error that made these coins a rare find. While most of the 1970s proof pennies are not particularly rare, a select few carry an error that makes them incredibly valuable. These double die pennies, which feature a noticeable doubling of the image or inscriptions, are among the most sought-after coins in the entire series. The doubling effect occurs when the die used to strike the coin was slightly misaligned, causing the design to appear twice in a slightly shifted position. The result is a coin that looks like it has two overlapping designs, a subtle, but exciting, feature that collectors go wild over. But there's more. The 1970 Lincoln penny has another fascinating twist. A rare, almost mythical version of this coin exists, which is known as the 1970s double die obverse penny. This rare error coin is even more highly prized because of its pronounced doubling effect, which is visible on both the date and the lettering on the coin. This type of doubling is exceptionally clear, making it easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. The 1970s double die obverse coin is one of the most highly coveted pennies among collectors, and finding one in excellent condition is akin to discovering a hidden gem. You may be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1970 Lincoln pennies in your collection? The key to identifying these special coins lies in the details. If you have a 1970 penny with the S Mint mark indicating it was minted at the San Francisco Mint, you'll want to closely inspect the coin for any signs of doubling. The most noticeable areas to check are the date 1970 and the inscription Liberty. If you can spot a clear, visible doubling effect on these areas, you may have stumbled upon one of these rare error coins. In addition to checking for doubling, make sure to examine the overall condition of the coin. Like with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been preserved in mint condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or any signs of heavy circulation, are always more valuable than those that have seen extensive wear. In the case of the 1970 Lincoln penny, especially the rare double die versions, coins that are graded higher are worth far more than those that are in poor or average condition. So, how much is this rare 1970 Lincoln penny worth? You might be surprised to learn that these error pennies can be worth quite a bit more than you might think for such a small coin. The price can vary depending on factors like the specific error, the condition of the coin, and whether it has been certified by a reputable grading service. But if you happen to have one of these rare 1970s double die obverse pennies in excellent condition, you could be looking at a staggering value. These coins can command prices in the range of $68,000, that's right, $68,000 for a single 1970 penny. While most of us would think of a penny as just a tiny, inconsequential piece of currency, certain varieties can prove to be a literal goldmine for collectors. If you find one of these rare coins hiding in your collection or in your pocket change, you could have a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars. So, if you're scouring your collection for rare coins, make sure to check your 1970 Lincoln pennies carefully. A simple coin that may seem like just another cent could actually hold an incredible value. Always remember to check for the S mint mark, look for the doubling effect, and ensure the coin is in good condition. Who knows, you might just have a small fortune sitting right under your nose. Thanks for tuning in to today's exploration of the rare 1970 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins in the fascinating world of numismatics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. Top 3 topic is going to thrill you. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1978 Lincoln penny. At first glance, this may seem like just another penny from the late 70s, but don't be fooled. There's much more to this coin than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to explore the world of numismatics, this rare gem from 1978 might just be worth far more than you expect. When most people think about coins from the 1970s, they probably picture the usual, everyday circulation pennies, the kind you find in your pocket change. These coins were designed with the classic Lincoln portrait on the obverse side, and the reverse side showcases the iconic Lincoln Memorial. While most of these pennies aren't worth much more than their face value, there's a specific variety of the 1978 Lincoln penny that has piqued the interest of collectors for years. This particular coin, although not widely known, has a story that could change the way you look at your coin collection forever. Before we talk about the rarity and value of the 1978 Lincoln penny, let's take a step back and look at the context in which this coin was minted. The year 1978 was a time of significant change in the United States. The country was still navigating the aftermath of the economic challenges of the 1970s, including inflation and the oil crisis. Amidst all of this, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing millions of coins to meet the needs of the growing economy. This is where the story of the 1978 Lincoln penny begins. While the majority of the 1978 pennies were struck with the standard copper composition, there was a fascinating anomaly with certain coins minted that year. Some of these pennies exhibit what's known as a double die error. This type of error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts or is misaligned during the minting process. As a result, the design appears more than once, giving the coin a doubled appearance in certain areas. It might sound subtle, but when it happens on a highly sought-after coin like the Lincoln penny, the result can be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. The double die error is most often visible in the date, the lettering, or even the Lincoln portrait itself. For example, a coin struck with a double die will show noticeable doubling in the digits of the date 1978, or even in the word Liberty across the front of the coin. If you've ever come across a penny with some unusual doubling in these areas, then you might have a rare 1978 Lincoln penny that could be worth a fortune. The value of these coins skyrockets when they are in excellent condition, free of scratches, wear, or discoloration. A well-preserved 1978 Lincoln penny with a noticeable double die error is a highly desirable item in the numismatic community. Whether the doubling effect is subtle or clearly visible, collectors are eager to find coins that showcase this flaw. These coins aren't just worth their face value, they are highly coveted pieces of American coinage history that could be worth a small fortune, but the rarity of the 1978 Lincoln penny doesn't stop there. In addition to the double die errors, there are also examples of the coin that have unique minting flaws, including die cracks and other unusual markings. These variations may seem like small details to the untrained eye, but for collectors, they are like hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. A coin with these kinds of unique features is often worth more than a typical double die coin because it represents a one-of-a-kind error that is virtually impossible to replicate. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1978 Lincoln penny so valuable. Although the US Mint produced a large number of these pennies, the error coins are exceptionally rare. Most of the 1978 pennies are still in circulation today, and many have been worn down over the years from constant use. But finding one in near mint condition, especially one with a noticeable double die or other unique error, is incredibly rare. The more pristine the condition of the coin, the higher its potential value. Coin collectors and dealers are always on the lookout for rare varieties like the 1978 Lincoln penny, and when one of these coins hits the market, it can generate significant interest. The price of a 1978 Lincoln penny with a double die error can vary depending on factors such as the extent of the doubling, the coin's condition, and whether it has been professionally graded by a reputable service. For example, a coin in average condition may fetch a few $100s, but if you're lucky enough to have a high-grade specimen with clear, noticeable doubling, the value can rise dramatically. Here's the part you've been waiting for: the price. If you happen to own one of these rare 1978 Lincoln pennies, particularly one that features a well-defined double die error and is in mint or near mint condition, you could be looking at an astounding price of $63,000. That's right, $63,000 for a single penny. While it may seem hard to believe that such a small coin could be worth that much, the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the 1978 Lincoln penny is a prime example of how an ordinary penny can turn into a valuable collector's item. So, what does this mean for you as a collector or someone who has a stash of old pennies lying around? It means that it's time to start looking through your collection with fresh eyes. If you have any 1978 Lincoln pennies, carefully inspect them for signs of doubling, minting flaws, or other unique characteristics. If you happen to find one that meets the criteria, you might just be holding onto a small fortune. That's all for today's exploration of the 1978 Lincoln penny. Who would have thought that a coin so small could have such a big impact in the world of numismatics? If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the world of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future discoveries. Top 4. We're going to talk about a very special coin, the 1974 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like just another penny from the 70s, but trust me, this coin has a fascinating story that could make it worth a small fortune. If you're a collector or even just a casual coin enthusiast, you'll want to stick around for this one because the 1974 Lincoln penny has something pretty remarkable about it. When we think of the Lincoln penny, we're probably most familiar with the design, President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse side, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This classic design has graced American coins since 1909. But here's the thing: while most Lincoln pennies are pretty straightforward and worth only 1 cent, there's a rare version of the 1974 Lincoln penny that stands out in a big way. So, let's dive into why this specific penny is so highly sought after and just how much it could be worth today. The year 1974 was an interesting one in the history of U.S. coinage. The country was going through economic changes, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the needs of a growing economy. The 1974 Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which is why it carries the D Mint mark. Most of these coins were produced for general circulation and used in daily transactions across the country. But not all 1974 pennies are created equal. Some of them are incredibly rare and highly valuable due to a specific error that occurred during the minting process. This error is what's known as a double die error, which means that the die used to strike the coin shifted or was misaligned during the production process. As a result, the design on the coin appears doubled, most noticeably in the date 1974 and the word Liberty. While this may seem like a minor flaw, it's exactly what makes the 1974 Lincoln penny so desirable to collectors. Coins with this error are often referred to as double die obverse pennies, and they are a highly prized find for anyone who loves rare coins. Double die errors happen when the die used to strike the coin doesn't properly align, resulting in a slightly shifted imprint. The effect of this can vary from subtle doubling that's hard to spot, to a more pronounced doubling that makes the coin stand out. With the 1974 Lincoln penny, the most noticeable doubling is often seen in the number 1974 on the obverse side. The doubled date can appear as if the digits were stamped twice, slightly offset from the original strike. The word liberty may also show some doubling, making the error even more pronounced. What makes the 1974 D Lincoln penny even more special is its rarity. While thousands, if not millions, of these coins were produced, only a small number of them exhibit the double die error. Most of the pennies minted that year were created with perfect alignment and show no signs of doubling. The coins with this error are relatively rare and hard to find, which makes them incredibly valuable to collectors. In addition to the double die error, the condition of the coin also plays a massive role in its value. Like all collectibles, the better the condition, the higher the price. A 1974 D Lincoln penny with no visible wear, scratches, or discoloration will naturally be worth more than a coin that has been heavily circulated. If the coin shows clear doubling but remains in excellent, near-mint condition, it can skyrocket in value. The value of a 1974 D Lincoln penny with the double die error depends on several factors: the degree of the doubling, the overall condition of the coin, and whether it has been professionally graded. The more dramatic the doubling, and the better the condition, the more valuable the coin becomes. But here's the big reveal: if you have one of these rare 1974 D Lincoln pennies in excellent condition with clear, noticeable doubling, it could be worth an astonishing $66,000. Yes, that's right, $66,000 for a single penny. You might be thinking, how is it even possible for a penny, something so small, to be worth that much money? The answer lies in the rarity of the coin, the error it carries, and its status as a sought-after collectible. Coins with double die errors are among the most coveted in the numismatic world, and the 1974 D Lincoln penny is no exception. Whether you're an experienced collector or just someone with a keen eye for valuable finds, a penny like this is something you'll want to hold on to and protect. So, how can you tell if you found one of these rare 1974 D Lincoln pennies in your collection? It's all about the details. First, check for the D Mint mark, which indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. Then, take a close look at the date and the word Liberty. The doubling should be clearly visible, with the numbers in 1974 and the letters in Liberty appearing as if they've been stamped twice, offset slightly from the original strike. If you spot these signs, you might be holding on to a rare treasure. Keep in mind that coins in mint or near mint condition are the most valuable, so make sure to handle the coin carefully to avoid scratching or damaging it. If you find one of these error coins, consider having it professionally graded by a reputable numismatic service. A certified coin with an official grade can often fetch a much higher price, especially if it's determined to be in exceptional condition. Now that you know how to spot the rare 1974 D Lincoln penny with the double die error and understand its potential value, it's time to start looking through your old pennies more carefully. You never know when you might come across one of these hidden gems that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's all for today's deep dive into the 1974 D Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future discoveries. Top 5. We're talking about a particular coin that you might overlook in your collection, but it's worth more than you think. We're discussing the 1981 D Lincoln penny, a coin that, while seemingly ordinary at first glance, can hold a surprising amount of value if you know what to look for. And now, when we think about pennies, most of us probably picture the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But did you know that some Lincoln pennies, especially certain ones from the early 80s, have a story that could make them worth thousands of dollars? That's right, the 1981 D Lincoln penny is one of those unsung heroes of the numismatic world, and in this video, we're going to reveal why this coin is so special and how much it could actually be worth. To understand the value of the 1981 D Lincoln penny, we first need to take a look at the time period in which it was minted. The year 1981 was an interesting one in U.S. history, politically, economically, and socially. Ronald Reagan had just been inaugurated as President of the United States, and the country was facing economic challenges like high inflation and unemployment. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing coins to meet the demand of the economy. The 1981 D Lincoln penny, struck at the Denver Mint, was among the millions of pennies produced that year. But while most 1981 D pennies were intended for regular circulation and don't stand out as anything special, there is a rare variety of this coin that's become highly sought after by collectors. This specific coin has an error that makes it a true gem in the world of numismatics, the 1981 D close AM variety. You might be wondering, what exactly does close AM mean? It refers to the spacing between the letters A and M and the word America on the reverse side of the penny. In regular 1981D pennies, there's a noticeable gap between these letters, but for a small number of coins that were minted that year, the letters were struck too closely together, resulting in a close AM variety. This was an error caused by a misalignment in the dies used to strike the coin. While this may seem like a minor mistake, it makes the 1981D close AM penny an incredibly rare and valuable find. So, what makes this error so important? Coin collectors are always on the lookout for varieties and errors because they offer something unique. In the case of the 1981D close AM penny, the error was subtle enough that most people didn't notice it at first, but for collectors, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. The rarity of this error, combined with its historical significance and the fact that so few coins with the close AM variety exist, makes this penny a true treasure. Finding a 1981D close AM penny is no easy feat. Most of the 1981D pennies are of the regular variety, with the A and M in America spaced apart as they normally should be. But a small number of these coins were struck with the close AM error, and they're incredibly rare. Since this error went largely unnoticed for many years, these pennies are extremely difficult to come by, and when they do appear on the market, they generate a lot of excitement among collectors. And now, let's talk about how you can identify if you have a 1981D close AM penny. The key feature to look for is the spacing between the A and M in America. On a regular 1981D penny, these letters will be spaced apart, while on the close AM variety, the letters will be very close together, almost touching or appearing to overlap. It's a small detail, but once you know what to look for, it becomes easy to spot. You'll also want to check the overall condition of the coin. As with all rare coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. In terms of condition, a 1981D close AM penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is worth much more than one that has been heavily circulated. Coins that show signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration are less valuable. However, if you happen to find a 1981D close AM penny in excellent condition, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Even if the coin isn't in perfect condition, just the presence of the close AM error can significantly increase its value. Now, you may be wondering, how much could this rare penny actually be worth? While the value of any coin depends on various factors such as its condition and the demand from collectors, a 1981D close AM penny in good condition can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. But here's the most exciting part: if you happen to own one of these coins in near perfect condition or have one that has been professionally graded, the value can be astonishing. A 1981D close AM penny in top-notch condition could be worth a jaw-dropping $58,000. Yes, you heard that right, $58,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that's only worth 1 cent in everyday transactions could command such a high price in the world of rare coin collecting. But that's the magic of numismatics. The value of a coin isn't always about its face value, it's about rarity, condition, and the story behind it. If you've got any 1981D pennies lying around, now is the perfect time to start inspecting them closely. Look for the close AM variety, check the condition, and see if you've stumbled upon one of the rarest and most valuable coins from the 1980s. If you find one, you could be holding on to a collector's dream that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's it for today's deep dive into the 1981D Lincoln penny. Who would have thought that a simple penny could have such a big impact in the world of coin collecting? If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a future discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting for your next rare find.